share it, and leave us a comment if you can, and we will really appreciate. So we are also live on our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. And remember, we are not only live in Lusaka and the surrounding areas, like I earlier said, but we are also live on our partner radio stations. We have the following carrying our program live on their various platforms. We are live in Katete and entire Eastern Province on Katete FM, and that is on 103.3 FM. And so we are also live in Kabwe Central Province on Spice FM on 91.1. Not forgetting also in Central Province is ZFM in Kapiri, and that is on 100.3 FM. We are live on the Copper Belt, Ndola to be precise. We are live on Platinum Radio, that is on 97.7, and not forgetting also live in Chingola, and that is on iWave FM Radio on 90.1 FM. And also live on Tuta FM, that is in Mansa, covering the rest of Luapula Province on 90.7 FM. Isunga Radio in Sengahiu in Northern Province is also carrying this program live, and that is on 88.3 FM. And not forgetting Chinsali is equally tuned in, covering the rest of Muchinga Province on Muchinga Radio on 88.1. And of course, like I earlier said, follow our socials. We are also live on Smart Egos as well. All right, leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you. And I'm your guest. I'm your host, Zakaria Banda. My guest today is Mr. Celestine Mukandila. Mukandila is actually a lawyer by profession, but I'll tell you that he is acting Deputy Secretary General of the Patriotic Front, and he is also in charge of admin. And not forgetting that he is acting Secretary General of the Tonse Alliance. And of course, we have a lot to discuss, but before we get into the nitty-gritties, let me take this opportunity to introduce him as my guest this morning. Good to see you. Good to have you back on 5FM Radio.
Thank you very much, Comrade Banda, and thank you very much for having me. It's really been a while since I was here.
Yes.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. And I know that yours is a busy one. I'm aware of the fact that as the Patriotic Front, a lot is going on, and of course this is the reason we have you here, because Patriotic Front and the Tonse Alliance have been a burning issue, but more so burning because yesterday we actually received news of the judgment in as far as, or rather the court deciding that indeed they will uphold the injunction that obviously was filed in the Kabwe court. Now, first and foremost, I'm also aware that you are scheduled for a press briefing to officially speak to that. But just give us a bit of a background of what happened yesterday and where we are as a party.
Well, of course, it's extremely important to understand that in Kabwe, Mr. Ngona decided to file in an injunction against the Patriotic Front, and we had, I think, a ruling that was reserved for the 9th of January, and unfortunately it never came up.
Right.
And we are very much aware that our colleagues that were the Ngona team, upon seeing that we had filed in an application to discharge the injunction, they never even filed in any opposition, by the way. But we were shocked or surprised to see that the court continued to indicate that the court will issue a ruling on a later date. Very unfortunate, never heard of, but of course we heard it now. So from there, we did not have that ruling on the 9th, and it was moved to the 13th. That was on a Monday. We proceeded to court, and then on the 13th, again, the court advised again that the ruling was not ready, unfortunately. So, of course, we tried to engage the court, to request the court to even issue an extempore ruling because there was no opposition, and the court would have just granted the discharge as was sought by ourselves. Unfortunately, the court decided that they would be able to advise as to when the ruling would be ready. And as of yesterday, the day before yesterday, actually, yesterday, that's when we saw a document leaked on social media. Before we know it, then we were informed that a ruling was written and it was dropped with into a pigeonhole of the firm, the agent firm that we were using. So very unfortunate. The ruling came out indicating that the court was upholding the injunction. Unfortunately, as it stands, and also indicating that there are two different matters that we're dealing with. The Ngona matter appears to be a pretty new matter as compared to the Lusaka matter, because we indicated that there's a ruling in Lusaka where Ngona's status as an expelled Secretary General and Chavinga's status was maintained as expelled members. And the court actually in Lusaka indicated that the status quo ought to have remained the same, meaning as it is then that Miles Sampa was going to act as President and Secretary General. But we attached that ruling. Unfortunately, the court decided what it decided. But that notwithstanding, it does not mean that we've reached the crossroad or we've reached the end of the line. We have not, as the Patriotic Front, because we have avenues. We are actually going to appeal to the Court of Appeal that ruling, as a matter of fact. However, it must be remembered that as a Patriotic Front, we had made a statement in President Lubinda's statement last year, his end of year statement. He had actually indicated that we have now reached a political crossroad where we can no longer let the court determine the future of the Patriotic Front. We'll proceed as we wait for the 9th and the 12th ruling and judgment respectively. We were hoping that whatever it is that would be as a result of those rulings and judgment, we'll be able to move, and we're still moving. And the president then had indicated that that will not derail us from making progress, and we have continued on that path. As it stands right now, we have reached a very advanced stage in preparing for the General Conference for the Patriotic Front, and we are going to have it, as a matter of fact, in February. And that is the certainty that we have. Central Committee has already given its position. The Central Committee of the Patriotic Front, they've already given its position that we're going to have a conference in February, and we're just waiting to have another Central Committee in the nearest future, but not later than next week, Monday, to decide on the precise date when we are going to have that conference.
And that will be defying this ruling, no?
No, so remember, there was a very interesting idea that was peddled by President Lubinda, where he indicated that, you see, when you are on your way going, for example, as an example, when you are on your way going to Chongwe and you reach Charleston, the vehicle you are using breaks down, and your aim and goal is that you must ensure that you get to Chongwe, because there's a time frame you need to attend to this interview at 13 hours. What you do at that point is to get off that vehicle, hike on another vehicle, and proceed towards the direction you're heading to. And that is where we are as a Patriotic Front. We are onto this vehicle. We've been derailed by these colleagues, be it the UPND, be it the confusion being peddled or sponsored by UPND as we know it. But it does not mean that we'll be derailed. We made a commitment to the Zambian people. We made a commitment to our party structures that in February we are going to this conference, whether they like it or not. By hook or crook, we shall do it.
It might well as mean as well mean that you are proposing that you might jump on a different political party and have a convention under a different political party.
Pretty much. You must remember that the Patriotic Front is a member of the Tonse Alliance, and in fact, the Patriotic Front is the anchor party in the Tonse Alliance. In the Tonse Alliance are many political parties. Any of those political parties can be used as a special purpose vehicle for the 2026 general elections. And as such, any of those political parties can be used by the Patriotic Front. And also, remember that the Patriotic Front is a movement. The Patriotic Front is in the hearts of people. The Patriotic Front is the biggest political party in the country, and it's in the hearts of people. We can decide to hold this conference either on another political party, or we can have it just as a Patriotic Front, just using whatever method we can, as a matter of fact, because I mean we've been holding on to the party from 2021, 2022, 2023. We had those misunderstandings where Miles Sampa did whatever he did, but where we are, we've continued to hold the party in its strength, and the party continues to be extremely together.
Now, the Tonse Alliance is facing challenges, with some members obviously claiming the alliance is being hijacked. It's the PF's, and then the question now is, what is the PF's stance on the alliance, and how does it plan to ensure its interests are protected?
I think it's important at this point we make the Zambian people understand something here.
Right.
The Tonse Alliance was a creature or a creation of the Patriotic Front and other alliance members, or other interested persons who had an interest to ensure that we deliver the Zambian people from the bondage of this regime. Now, the Patriotic Front's engagement in the Tonse Alliance was as a result of rules of engagement that were developed by members of the Patriotic Front. In fact, a subcommittee of the Central Committee was created to come up with these rules of engagement as to how we are going to engage into political alliances. So the PF agreed that in any alliance we get into, the Patriotic Front shall be the anchor party. And that is how the rules of engagement were made between the Patriotic Front and many other members of the Tonse Alliance. We agreed, and these rules of engagements are there. We agreed, and our colleagues were signing to these rules of engagement, agreeing to one, that the Patriotic Front will provide a president and chairman of the alliance, that the Patriotic Front will be the anchor party, and many other persons that were party to the Tonse Alliance agreed. Now, that is a definite issue that no one should dispute, whether they like it or not. Now, going forward, the Patriotic Front in the Tonse Alliance has been the party that sponsored the first chairman of the alliance. Now, what do I mean? President Edgar Lungu, in going to Tonse Alliance, was actually an agent, or should I say an ambassador from the Patriotic Front. The Patriotic Front sponsored President Lungu to be in Tonse Alliance, in the Tonse Alliance. Very important to note. It is the party that decided. It was not just President Lungu rising up and saying, yeah, this. No. The party decided to sponsor President Lungu into Tonse Alliance. Now, as such, that is why the party itself is the one that came up with the rules of engagement. To give to our chairman, to give to our president, to say, Mr. President, where you are going, these are the rules of engagement. Whoever is going to be engaged in the alliance, you are representing the PF, these are the rules. And that is why, even after the demise of President Lungu, may he so rest in peace, we saw that the chairperson was still appointed from the Patriotic Front. President Lungu himself appointed Honorable Given Lubinda as chairman of the alliance, as acting chairman. At what point
did you do that?
Remember, there came a time when there were a bit of some misunderstandings within the alliance, where there were questions as to who is going to act between Dan Pule and President Given Lubinda.
Yeah.
President Lungu wrote even on his Facebook page, he even gave a press release in Zambia Daily Nation indicating to say the acting president of the alliance and the acting chairman of the alliance is Honorable Given Lubinda. The Zambian people are aware of this. This is public information. Now, because that was done, the interest of the PF remains protected and secured in the alliance. And it's not only the interest of the PF, because now we've reached a point where whatever we do it for the benefit of the Zambian people. We're looking at the interest of the Zambian people. Remember, whatever we do today, we are actually, I was telling a colleague just a while ago that you don't realize that we are actually performing God's work. It is God's work we are performing. But only that God has allowed that we use this vehicle called the PF to deliver the Zambian people from the bondage of the atrocities that HH is creating. And that is where we are. The Patriotic Front recently issued a communique. And the Patriotic Front and the Tonse Alliance, in fact, issued a communique recently indicating that the Tonse Alliance chairmanship remains with President Given Lubinda, indicating that the only recognized alliance is one, Tonse Alliance is one that is headed by Comrade Given Lubinda, indicating that we have agreed as PF that the direction we're taking is that Dan Pule Tonse, or whatever it can be called, that circus there, is not supposed to be recognized, and members of the Patriotic Front ought not to go and participate in any procession whatsoever. Now remember, it's extremely important for the Zambian people to start understanding these things. Leadership is meant to be guided by principles of governance. Now, amongst the principles of governance includes the principle we call collective responsibility. If you are going to agree in an organization such as the PF or in Central Committee of the PF, whatever you agree binds all members of the PF, because we are bound by collective responsibility. Even if you did not agree to that suggestion, or even if you did not agree to a certain idea, you are bound by collective responsibility. This is a basic principle of leadership. Because collective responsibility, when you look at the structure of government, for example, collective responsibility at cabinet level also comes with it a fact that the moment you breach collective responsibility, one, you will be in contempt. That will actually be treasonous. There is a state secret act, state security act that guides all those principles. But in terms of the Patriotic Front, we equally have the constitution of the PF, and we are bound by these principles of collective responsibility. And therefore, we issued a communique that whoever participates in any procession whatsoever dealing with that illegality may it as well consider themselves as having expelled themselves from the PF. And fortunately, or should I say unfortunately, as gods operate, things happened, and we saw our colleagues taking their stance. But of course, the Patriotic Front remains very vigilant, and we remain very committed to delivering to the Zambian people the fact that we will have a leadership in February, and we remain as such, bound by collective responsibility. All those that are still in PF, all those that decided not to attend an illegal procession, were bound by the collective responsibility, and therefore they must be considered as good leaders. Those that decided to breach, the opposite can be said.
Now, there's been a lot of word going on that the Patriotic Front, under the leadership of President Given Lubinda, has seen more confusion than ever, and they've called the Given Lubinda Patriotic Front as heartless and fueling a lot of divisions. First of all, this was seen through the fact that you, as a party leadership, started expelling other members, key members of the Patriotic Front for that matter. What led to this? I mean, couldn't there have been a better way to resolve these issues than asking them to exculpate themselves, which I know it's procedure, but at this point, you are all affected as a party by the Chavinga team, of course, and you were supposed to be more united during this period than divided as you are.
You see, Comrade Banda, the bedrock of leadership, true leadership, and the bedrock of unity is discipline. Whether we like it or not, an organization cannot run with indisciplined individuals. Discipline is the bedrock of any organization. Now, I'll give a very brief answer to that. And of course, let's realize the fact that President Lubinda has been at the helm of the Patriotic Front from 2021 up to date. From 2021 up to date, the party structures for the Patriotic Front have remained intact, very intact, under the stewardship of President Lubinda. Let's also move to this point. The discipline required in any organization is what will propel it to move to a stage where things will start moving correctly. Now, those that are in this organization called the Patriotic Front, Michael Sata taught us one thing, that nobody is indispensable, including myself. Nobody is indispensable. People out there in this country are looking forward to the Patriotic Front doing the right thing. And people out there are admiring just how attractive the Patriotic Front is. Nobody is indispensable. You err today, tomorrow you'll be disciplined. Now, the Patriotic Front remains one institution that will put discipline above anything else. We saw it, Michael Sata expelled 22 MPs because they were indisciplined. They undermined the authority of the appointing authority. They undermined the collective responsibility of the party. And the same should be carried forward. Those that decide to undermine the authority of the appointing authority will know what will reach them. And that is just how it is. Discipline is key, whether we like it or not. Now, those that will feel, you've indicated to say, no, members were expelled, I don't believe that anyone was ever expelled from the Patriotic Front. I understand that the president of the Patriotic Front, Honorable Lubinda, used his discretionary power vested in him under Article 61J of the Constitution of PF to replace members of the Central Committee. That is his right, provided for in the Constitution of PF. It is his right to also appoint individuals. It is his right to create portfolios within the PF, as provided for under Article 53. So when you look at the authority that the president has, he's got authority to take an action when he feels it's in the best interest of the party, in the best interest of the security and development of the party. If he feels that we are moving to a point where there may be a coup d'etat, what does he do? You replace members. Even a coach in any football match will substitute some members and say, you can't go on bench. Let's work with this person. So that is where we are. There is nothing new with replacing area members. There is nothing new with replacing members with those that you feel can perform better than those. Not that others may even not be good, no. But because you feel, according to you, in your best interest and in the best interest of the party, you feel that this person will be able to perform better, you make a decision to replace. Now, is it wrong for people to be disciplined? There's nothing wrong with that. We had issued, as Secretariat, we had issued exculpatory letters to five colleagues, because we saw that they started creating parallel structures as against the provisions of the constitution of PF.
Tell us about the parallel structures.
And let me explain.
Because then people think that you're confusing it with campaigns.
Let me explain to you.
Yeah.
You see, the constitution of PF has provided that the only authority, the only body with power to create any structure or recognize any structure is the Central Committee. The only other authority is the president of the party. So there is no such thing as a campaign team or a campaign structure. So the moment we saw that, we said, our colleagues may need to be engaged. And make no mistake, people should not even think we just went ahead and just wrote letters. No. We called these colleagues, engaged them on phone calls, and they still went ahead with that. Defiance is what we saw. Apart from that, undermining of the authority is what we saw. So we decided to say the right process and procedure to follow is to hear these colleagues. Maybe they put it in writing to tell us what exactly they're doing. Maybe it may be something which is not illegal. So we put it in writing, and it was deliberately done so to ensure that those letters were confidential. If the Zambian people today will look at the letters we wrote for the exculpatory letters of Honorable Brian Mundubila, Honorable Jaffin Mwakalombe, and others, I will not mention them because their letters did not leak, and others, those letters were marked confidential. And the reason why they were marked confidential, because we knew to say we must handle this thing internally. You see, that is the wisdom that was there in the Secretary General's office. We handle this thing internally, confidentially. Unfortunately, as things stand, we saw these confidential documents in the press. And I will tell you, and I will tell the Zambian people today, that I personally handled these letters and personally forwarded to inboxes of individual affected members. Inboxes of individual affected members. No other person, even at the Secretariat, no other person was in possession of any of those letters. I handled those letters myself because I knew the level of confidentiality of that matter. Unfortunately, our colleagues decided to breach the very foundation of leadership or of governance, which is confidentiality. Now, you see, if you are going to run government, or if you are going to aspire to be in any office, confidentiality is the bedrock of leadership. You keep it to yourself. If you want, die with it. That is what confidentiality is. And besides, for us lawyers, it's even more, because we keep so many information and data for clients. We've got the biggest chests in the country, because we have to keep information confidential. Unfortunately, our colleagues breached the very foundation of leadership, which is confidentiality.
Yeah, and unless you tell
and
me,
we saw those things
yeah,
on social media.
Unless Mr. Mukandila, unless you tell me that the Patriotic Front did not actually allow members or those aspiring for the position of president to go out freely and start campaigning and talk to structures, so that in preparation for the convention, of course, unless you didn't do that. But if you did, I don't see anything wrong if I am aspiring to be president of the party to actually put a team together to help me convince structures and in provinces or countrywide in preparation for a convention, because that's what I believe was going on.
So let's be very realistic, and the Zambian people must know this.
Right.
A communique, a circular was issued by myself on the 26th of November, informing aspiring candidates that whoever intends to go to any province must ensure they inform Secretariat, so that Secretariat prepares the structures for you and ensure that all structures avail themselves to you as you give them your message. That circular was given. In the same circular, we proscribed the issue of endorsements. We stopped the issue of endorsements. Very important, because we said every aspiring candidate must be given an equal opportunity to present their case to the structures. It doesn't matter who it is. We shall not endorse anyone. Be it the president who is given Lubinda, be it Honorable Monde, be it Honorable Zulu, no one should be endorsed. We put it out there. Now, if you are going to come up with a campaign team, no one will stop you from coming up with a campaign team because it's a strategy. However, in the process of coming up with your campaign team, keep it to yourself, because the moment you make it public that this individual who's in a structure is in your campaign team and they are solely and exclusively in your campaign team, it simply means that you bar that individual from being talked to by any other aspirant, though that guidance was given as a matter of fact. And I said, you see, when you are going to create a campaign team, for example, a campaign team, the delegates, for example, at constituency levels, you will only have 4 people. The delegates at district level, you've got about 8 people. The delegates at provincial level, you've got about 24 people, or whatever, or 8 people. Now, you will not tell me that you need 72 people for you to convince 4 people at the constituency. And from those 72, the same 4 people are also part of the 72. And that is something else. It means you need to explain to the secretariat what exactly you're doing, because that is not a campaign team. That is a parallel structure. I mean, how do you have 72 people to go and convince 72 people to go and convince 4 people? Now, order is important. We give you guidance. Say, colleagues, let's ensure that everyone has got an opportunity to speak to the delegates. And the reason we did that is because we want to allow every person to have equal participation in this democratic process. We have categorically stated that we shall perform our functions in a professional manner. In a professional manner, in that every person must adhere to rules of the game. The rules of the game. It's as simple as that. Now, if you create rules of the game and others decide to defy, what then do you say? Or what do you do? Those that defy the rules of the game must be disciplined. Those that defy the rules of the game actually lack the very foundation of what leadership is. Now, I'll tell you, in my very few years that I've been on earth, I don't think the kind of politics I subscribe to should be the politics of betrayal, the politics of deceit, the politics of creating deals or cutting deals. That is not Mukandila. If I'm going to be in a position today, I can assure you that I shall perform to the best of my abilities, realizing that integrity is key in leadership. Because integrity entails that I do the right thing, even when no one is watching. So I will not sit back and say, no, because this one is creating parallel structures, I must just let him be. No, Bwana, you need to explain to the institution, to the organization. Remember, the Secretary General of the party reports into the Central Committee. I'm an agent of the Central Committee of the party. I do not operate independently. I'm given tasks by the Central Committee of the party. And I shall not move like the wind. No. It doesn't work out like that. And by virtue of me belonging to a Central Committee of the party, I am bound by collective responsibility. So in the performance of my functions, I need to ensure that those that are within the Central Committee and within the party are guided accordingly. We gave guidance on the 26th to say, colleagues, no endorsements going forward, because we want to ensure that everyone participates fairly and equally and squarely. Yeah. Go and battle it out on the day of voting. Let's ensure that we have a leader elected democratically, because that is what the Constitution of PF says. But at least for me, I will tell you, my brother, Comrade Banda, that Mukandila is not one that will sit and let a constitution be defied without speaking to it. Mukandila is not one that will encourage illegitimate leadership. No, not me. At least not today, not tomorrow, not this Mukandila.
And the question now is, the big question is, how fair do you think that the playing field democratically within the Patriotic Front is being laid, considering the fact that the acting president is making changes to the structure, to the Central Committee, for example, when he himself is equally an interested party. And therefore, I think this has been the big issue, to say, look, all these changes you are making, you're probably making them to favor you, because you too are a presidential candidate. You are equally wanting the same position that we are all asking for. So, isn't there a way that President Given Lubinda could have handled this matter without really seemingly disadvantaging others?
I'll be very frank with you. The party will not stop functioning because President Lubinda is an aspiring candidate. The party will not stop functioning because people feel uncomfortable with the president exercising his authority. I will tell you that
is he president or acting president?
In no uncertain terms, he's actually president of the PF.
And not acting president.
No, those are semantics. But of course, if people want to call him acting,
maybe clarify it constitutionally. What does the Constitution say in the event that, for example, President Lungu's demise and Vice President Given Lubinda, does he act or it automatically becomes president?
Okay, let me go to the provisions of the Constitution of the Patriotic Front.
Yeah.
When you look at Article 54 of the Constitution of the Patriotic Front, specifically it provides for Vice President and functions and duties.
Right.
Specifically, when you read Article 54(1), it says the Vice President shall have the following powers, duties, and functions. When you move to D, it says to exercise the functions of President in case of death or removal from office in terms of Article 53. I repeat, functions and duties of the Vice President. The Vice President shall have the following powers, duties, and functions. To exercise the functions of President in case of death or removal from office in terms of Article 53. Now, Vice President Lubinda is exercising the functions and powers of President, the duties and functions of President as it stands, because President Lungu is no more. What are the duties and functions of President? You go to Article 61 of the PF Constitution, which provides for functions, powers, functions of, and functions of the President of the party. Article 61, where now the question you asked about the appointments. Article 61, specifically J of the PF Constitution, provides that the president of the party shall have power, let me just read this, let me just get there quickly. The president of the party shall take a decision or an action which in his opinion is in the best interest of the development or security of the party. That is the law or the provision that President Lubinda used to appoint me to remove those colleagues from Central Committee. This provision, maybe let me read it again. In the exercise of the functions of President, as provided for in Article 54, as read together with Article 61, it says the President of the party shall take a decision or act a decision or an action which in his opinion is in the best interest of the development or security of the party. So it's clear, the law is clear. He has the right and power to take up that function, the function of president. So whether you call him acting president, you call him president, those are semantics. But he's got that authority. So you will not take it away from him unconstitutionally. No. Let's remain vigil to following procedures and processes, especially the rules of the game. And as it stands, the PF has got only this constitution that it respects. It is only this constitution that it has to follow. The same way that in Zambia today, Act number 15 of 2025 is the constitution of Zambia. It's the same way that this constitution of 207 is the constitution of the PF. So you will not run that, you will not run away from that. So in essence, the president of PF has got authority to take measures, but he also has a duty to ensure that he performs his functions in the interest of the party and the development and security of the party. That in itself does not mean that because President Lubinda has declared interest, and remember, what these colleagues that are calling themselves aspiring candidates or aspiring members of the party who wants to be president, what they gave the party, those 200,000 kwachas, those are expressions of interests. They are not nominations. It must be understood as such. You express interest to want to vie for this position. And that in itself does not make you any special. If you are a member of Central Committee, which President Lubinda did, by the way, all those that were aspiring, he told the Central Committee that, colleagues, because these colleagues want to aspire and they are aspiring to be president, let's ensure that all of them are members of Central Committee, the highest decision-making body of the party, so that they should not be disadvantaged in any way. That decision was made and it was okay. The resolution is there. All of them are members of Central Committee. All of them. Now, this is the person that has done that because he wants you to be part of Central Committee. He wants you to be part of the decision-making process. And today you want to say no because you want to aspire also. You are being unfair. There is always what we call the advantage of incumbency. Whether you like it or not, there is what we call an advantage of incumbency. It is what President Hakainde today is enjoying, the advantage of incumbency. Where when he goes into an area for a political rally, they will even tell you to say, no, now other political party will get into this area because the president is there. We call it an advantage of incumbency. But that in itself does not even mean that President Gideon Lubinda, because I've heard proponents indicating that no, because it's an interested party, he must resign or whatever. Have you ever seen President Lungu or President Hakainde resigning from his position as president because he's got intention to contest in 2021? The PF Constitution guides at what point the president has to dissolve Central Committee. It guides that it has to be done at the conference. You dissolve Central Committee at the conference, the powers and duties or functions of president cease to exist at the conference, and now those relegates themselves into the hands of the national chairman. That is what the constitution of PF says. Now you, because it's you feel in what you want to, or you've taken whatever, you go and say no, Lubinda should resign because the party has to function. Buana, the party has to function. The secretariat has to run and function. Because Lubinda today is a president, you expect Mukandila, who is his secretary general, to sideline him or to behave in a manner that does not show patronage to a leadership, to the leader. That's undermining. You don't expect me to perform my functions in a manner that undermines the leadership. No, that we shan't allow. It means you don't even know what you are doing in that office. I shall execute my function as acting secretary, deputy secretary general administration, in the best of my abilities to ensure that the interests of the party are advanced, not the interests of individuals, the interests of the party. And that is what I've been doing. No, and that is what I have advanced to ensure that we do collectively as the party and the Central Committee.
And in what you have done, you have mentioned that members who associate with what you are calling breakaway illegal tonse will actually face disciplinary action. Can you elaborate on what that means now that Brian Mukandila has first of all been accused of indiscipline as a result of the fact that he filed nominations, and subsequently now he's become president of what you are calling breakaway illegal tonse. Whilst he is a member of the Patriotic Front, he is a member of parliament.
I think the circular that was issued was extremely clear.
It was,
and it was extremely clear that.
And I've also got names to add to that Mukandila that I've just mentioned, because in yesterday's election, we saw that he actually had support of a number of Patriotic Front members, and I think that some are members of parliament.
And it must remain as such. You exclude yourself from a genuine, legitimate process by association. It's as simple as that. A communique was issued. Those that decide to participate in that, the activities of that faction, will have excluded themselves by association. So we need not even continue talking about people that have excluded themselves by way of association. We need not do that, because they've made up their choices. I saw the other day Honorable Mukandila indicating to say, I'm ready for the consequences, knowing very well, I mean, no one is down. I can put it clear that when we issue a communique as a party, every person has to abide by it, because we are bound by collective responsibility. You go against it, you are on your own. And right now, I can assure you that those colleagues are on their own, as a matter of fact. And that is how it is, unfortunately. And I saw the other time again, colleagues indicating to say, no, I'm still a member of the Patriotic Front. In fact, that was, the first statement that I saw my good comrade Brian Mukandila issuing to say, yes, I'm chairman and the president of Tonse, but I'm still a member of the Patriotic Front. How? Bwana, I think by now you should concentrate on telling the Zambian people what you shall do for them. You've excluded yourself. No one chased him, and it's just an issue of greed. And I can put it in plain English. It's an issue of greed. Patience is a virtue. We agreed as Central Committee that we are going to go for a process which will be legitimate, and it will provide legitimacy on the process. We told our party structures to say, colleagues, we are going to a conference in February. The Zambian people know we're going to a conference in February. Why the rush? We've got a structure as to how we're going to do things. Why the rush? Why then do you want to impose yourself on people? Why do you want to illegitimately take up this thing? What has transpired, by the way, in that illegal Tonse procession can only be likened to what Honorable Miles Sampa did in 2023. It's no difference. It can only be likened to what Chavinga is doing today with Ngona. There's no difference. These are individuals that have decided to be greedy. And so you'll only compare them to that. Today, you'll ask these colleagues, and what is happening in Tonse, for example, is an issue of, where there's a biblical story in King James, in King James version of the Bible. In fact, in the Bible, where Solomon as a king and the judge had with him two women who came before him, and they brought a baby who both of them claimed to have been the legitimate mothers to that baby. And now they presented with that, and using Solomonic wisdom, he said, I think what we'll do, let's share this baby to ensure that this woman gets half and the other woman gets half. And one of them said, no, I think in that case, just leave the babies, preserve the baby's life, give it to this other person. This is exactly what is happening. Our colleagues, despite being given a chance to say, colleagues, don't participate in an illegality.
they decided to behave like that woman who decided that, yes, just cut it in half. We'll have our half and they'll also have their half. But what Comrade Luwinda did and his leadership, the wisdom they did, which is Solomonic wisdom, they said, no, we shall preserve this baby. Besides, we've already agreed as an alliance that we in fact have another baby in Kasama, where despite FDD going behind our back, despite these colleagues betraying us, let's preserve this election. Let it go on. We'll support it. The same thing happened with Shawama. He said, let's preserve this. Now that is Solomonic wisdom. It can only be likened to that biblical wisdom that was given. But what our colleagues have done, they just said to feed them Munsenga. So whatever happens will happen. But that shows what leadership is. Do we have leadership in people that will decide to impose themselves? We've seen this happen. It happened in 2014. It happened in 2023. And the results have shown it. That
yeah. Now I know, and it's on record that the late ECL, before he left for South Africa, and I mean long before he left, he had appointed you in the Tonse Alliance as National Youth Chair, right? And he also appointed Honorable Munduvile as chair on parliamentary committee or something. The fact that you were appointed by ECL, you must say the truth about the ECL PF movement. The PF has distanced itself as we speak now from the ECL PF movement, calling it a fictitious creation. Can you explain what this movement is in the factoid ever existed?
I want you to listen and hear me correctly. By the way, I enjoyed a very warm relationship with the late president in his last days. A very, very warm relationship. And by warm relationship, I mean a very warm relationship. We discussed almost every other time. President Lungu would call me even at midnight. He say, "You a lawyer, there is this scenario. What do you think?" You know, so we enjoyed that relationship. Now, I want you to understand that the Patriotic Front appointment of myself by President Edgar Lungu, and I think 3-4 days ago, I actually posted on my Facebook page my appointment letters. They were on letterheads for the Patriotic Front. Yeah, very important to know. On the letterheads of the Patriotic Front. In short, my appointment into Tonse was a secondment from the Patriotic Front. The person who had authority to make that secondment was President Lungu. He appointed me into the Tonse Alliance. But that was done through or by consultation with the Patriotic Front. Because remember, President Lungu, like any of us, was equally seconded into the Tonse Alliance by the Patriotic Front. The very Patriotic Front that whatever decision is made in the Council of Leaders in PF would also be consulted with the Central Committee of the Patriotic Front. That is why even the relationship that was enjoyed was as a result of the terms of references, which, as well as the rules of engagement from the Patriotic Front into the alliance. Very important to note. I do not operate independent, or I'm not at sea being in the Tonse Alliance. No. My appointment was as a result of a secondment from the Patriotic Front. This same Patriotic Front that these colleagues have decided, or they decided to expel from their so-called Tonse, and created a fictitious movement. But the reality is, the PF that was recognized as even an anchor party is the one that brought those rules of engagement on the table. And that is the PF that is run or is under the stewardship of President Given Lubinda. And no other. And President Lungu's last political action before his death, and it's important for people to realize the wisdom that President Lungu had, his last political action before his death was to appoint President Lubinda as acting chairperson of the Tonse Alliance. His last political action. And no other political action was taken by President Lungu. It is his last political action to appoint President Lubinda as acting chairman of the Tonse Alliance. And today, people that are even claiming to have been closer to President Lungu should say today that the PF has never been a member of, the PF for Lubinda has never been a member of Tonse. That is madness of the highest order. It means the colleagues are living in a bubble of their own imagination. Unfortunately, that's what it is. So, whether we like it or not, President Edgar Lungu's last political action was to appoint Given Lubinda as acting chairman of Tonse Alliance. The acting chairman of Tonse Alliance today as we talk is President Given Lubinda. The Tonse Alliance agreed in no uncertain terms that we were going to go for a constitution making process or meeting on the, it was agreed that on the 20th of January, it was agreed we were going to go for a meeting on the 20th of January. But our colleagues, their greed, their machinations, their scheming, their betrayal, decided that no, let's have a meeting tomorrow or after tomorrow, and then we amend the constitution. Before you know it, according to them, they amended the constitution. They removed the PF from being Anga party. Before you know it, they expelled the PF from the Tonse Alliance. Before you know it, they said now what we have is the ECO political movement comprised of ministers, MPs, and whatever. But you've expelled the PF. Come on, colleagues, we need to be very... We are not dealing with kids. Zambians are not children alone. Zambians are seeing what is happening. Zambians are seeing the desperate measures that are being taken by every person.
Yeah, you seem not to have treated everyone the same. In the manner that you've treated the Mundubile camp, compared to Makebi camp. Because Makebi has endorsements of even Central Committee members, no?
And you see, and that is where you need to really understand. There are no camps in PF. Every person is a PF member.
No, you're saying others are creating structures. Okay, maybe let me use structures. Mundubile is seen to have created structures.
Don't do it illegally.
Against the party policy.
Don't do it illegally.
How is it? So, what do you mean? Has Makebi declared interest on endorsements that we are hearing of?
So here is the thing.
Yeah.
We issued a communique on the 26th of November.
Right.
And that communique proscribed, stopped anyone from issuing endorsements going forward. And that has been followed by the likes of Makebi. That has been followed by the likes of any other aspiring candidate. But the only person who decided to defy a party instruction is the gentleman who should not even be discussed because he's no longer a member of the PF. He's a president, he's in his own shadow there, whatever they call it, is Tonse, whatever. I mean, we shouldn't even get to discussing that.
He's not expelled yet, so he's still a member of the...
He expelled himself. That I can confirm. How do you want to continue being a member of PF when you've already elected yourself at a sham program? It's the same as you are trying to say, no, me as Mouse, I'm still a member of the Edgar Lungu PF, but I'm a president also. When Miles did whatever he did, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You betray the system. You are on your own, Bwana. You are on your own. And this issue of people deciding that this camp, that camp, there is nothing called a camp in PF. And these colleagues are only but aspiring candidates. They can't be equated to the authority of President Lubinda. No, they can't. The only time he's going to be at par with everyone is at the conference when he dissolves the Central Committee. and the authority gets into the hands of the national chairperson, who is Madam Kapata now. So that is the only time people would be at par with President Lubinda. You can't even reach a level of saying, no, President this, President. No, Bwana. The only president that is there currently is President Lubinda. In PF, the rest of them are aspiring candidates. They are members of Central Committee like myself and any other member. We enjoy equal rights into Central Committee. And that's how it is. So you cannot say, no, Makebi camp, whatever camp. I mean, look at it in this way. If, for example, we were running the party to advantage any other person, why would the President Lubinda propose names into Tonse Alliance, including the name of Brian Munduvile, Kampiongo? Why would he do that? Including the name of George Sanga. Why would he do that if he wants to advance an interest of himself? But that is what he did. He allowed colleagues, he thought.
You want to admit that there's a lot of confusion.
And that is what we are trying to correct.
Because, I mean, much as you are trying to correct, the more it gets louder and the division gets louder. For example, we know that Emmanuel Mwamba has equally pleaded that we all support Mundubile as Patriotic Front.
I don't think Emmanuel has said
JJ Banda has
no. I think let's correct that fact. Emmanuel Mwamba, who is information chairperson of the Patriotic Front, has not said that let's support illegalities. No. He's on record indicating that I shall not support illegalities. There is no legitimacy in this illegal process. He has indicated. Yesterday's program, where JJ Banda was there, JJ Banda was trying to peddle an idea that no, what this illegality is okay. Bwana, we are not going to be sitting here and massage illegalities. Emmanuel Mwamba told him off to say, I will not support illegalities. I've been on record telling off Michael Sata. I've been on record telling off President Lungu. I've been on record even indicating to everyone to say, let's look at the legitimate process. What is wrong with it?
So let's briefly, before I take phone calls, and I would like you to be very brief, tell us a bit about the conclave and what was the objective of the conclave.
And of course, you can't say what was the objective.
What is
the objective?
Yeah.
You know? The objective is to ensure that we have common ground by the aspirants, and they agreed amongst themselves that they need to start talking, they need to be communicating, they need to find common space to perhaps agree that, colleagues, you've got your strengths, I've got my strengths, but I think let's look at the do's and don'ts. What do the Zambian people want? Can we also look at considering having one or two candidates that we take to the conference? So the idea behind that was also going to be that there was a possibility that they would have even given the Zambian people candidates for the 2026 general elections and submit those candidates for authorization or for ratification by Central Committee to be presented before the general conference. It was also, that is the
was the conclave right before you issued the exculpatory letters, or that was
it was way before that. And
by the way,
when
Mondobida was right that you call for a conclave, and yet you are planning what you were planning.
No, Bwana.
What you served them.
No, Bwana. Listen, the process of the conclave was running independent of the Patriotic Front. It was an initiative of the aspirants and the Council of Elders. And that is what it has remained up to now. That is an initiative. And also, understand very well that discussions in the conclave remain, and they've always been, very, very discreet. Until someone decided to spill the bean that there is even a conclave that exists. Until we saw someone even writing to say, no, I've decided to leave conclave.
Yeah.
Because apparently I'm creating structures and you are calling them parallel structures, but they are my campaign structures. And we asked questions of relevance to say, Bwana, we don't stop you from creating a campaign team. There's nothing wrong with that. But tell me something.
how logical is it that you are going to create 72 people? Yeah? And those 72 people will go and campaign to 4 people. Where's the logic there? 72 people. To go and campaign to 4 people. We are trying to understand. What do you mean? What are you trying to say? So that is how it's been.
Let's take phone calls. Thank you very much for obviously responding to that as well. This is the Thursday edition rather of the Burning Issue here on the Happy World of 5 FM radio. My guest is Celestine Mukandila. He is a lawyer by profession. He is Deputy Acting Secretary General of the Patriotic Front, and of course in charge of admin, and also Acting Secretary General of the Tonse Alliance. Now, we will be taking your phone calls on 0955221515. That's the number. And also send us your comment or indeed your questions on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. Good morning and welcome to the program. Please share your name and where you're calling us from. Good morning, thank you.
Good morning, Mukandila.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine, and how are you, sir?
Very well, very well.
This is Sirokagist calling from Kabwe.
Yes, please. You have a minute and use it wisely.
Namba chamuleka kati confusion taire kutuka mushemwala akula abantu nangu mulepaza abantu because if the kitika kyonze muntu ngurushi ifo twaleka biro kuikala panshi iti amalangozi kyonze mukire mwaki kwisha byakwa badya amalangozi yakiri yale yapye ngemvo ba rubinda ba acting president bali yuku ne bumba lyabo beka abana ne bumba lyabo namba eto twala ikale bino kwa mavyo kumva bya confusion mailo twale mboga bakoti bali kanya ukweba kitamwaka bonje party no kya convention ya PF n'abakanya lemba iwo mukirimu leta alikanasi iyo byabi kitire baba mundubire kebe tatubefika kalape nga procedure nitwala ko nkabire nitata uli zebachi fishiko bati mu maji presidential nation ibire yatam para kutula uyo twala ishu okutala banangwe weza nipate onse noma ichipanikizo ninji treya kuiza nambo ni confusion ninji na ngilisubiro njabantu banakwata ebyo ndio mulembo bitabantu roti kuzujanya iwe trekire bamumbire ninji kitika tukalako nkinji muntu nguluji twafweni abantu pangira undi turelo lero kutupera lida bali tokire kitika mulero wakebeka kumulu
twatasha
pera felija vyo mupanyishika imo.
Bakalamba, before you go, imwe mwalanda tumulipa structure te? Aba kwate ensambu ya kweba ama structures ya PF na ngukulandira chipani. Ni bani? Teba president na secretary general. Mkwai. So imwe nalamye bati, let's wait and listen to the official spokespersons of the party. Any other person that says anything, those people are destroyers. I'm fine. But if I feel in Fulunganyo, Yemkwai. So they can to Bombelapo. Of course, we are ensuring that I'm sure Mulayamona ma communication. I'm a secular to la Tuma. So but now
thank you very much. Let me quickly go to a text message on our Facebook page. Mulumbeni Chilwa says, Honorable Secretary General, political science research identifies a phenomenon called political crowding in democracies like ours, where high competition for limited opportunities makes politics a primary vehicle for personal achievement rather than public service. we see a crowded field of ambitious leaders within the PF and across Zambian politics, of course, many with unclear policy vision beyond their own advancements. Given that, my question is, can you point to a single policy area, just one, where the Patriotic Front has developed a clear advance-based long-term national strategy that is entirely insulated from the personal ambitions and succession politics within your party? And if so, what institutional safeguards are in place to ensure that this strategy survives the next internal power, all right, internal power struggle or leadership change, and is not simply packaged patronage or a vehicle for factional interest? Let me give you some more. I've got Arnold Chanda-Chilufya says, good morning, Zach. I think what Honorable Mukandila has done is what the guys failed to do. Okay? He garnered courage and made a bold decision. You can't continue postponing the General Conference to serve one individual, in this case, Zayelo. I will say it because he himself likes saying it. Let those who will remain with Zayelo remain, and those who have gone with Brian, let them go and fight for their battles. All right. Now, there's also a message that I have here from William, who says, good morning, Zach and Mukandila. This is William from Bowlen. What will be your next step if you won't be adopted on the 13th of August 2026? And of course, Mukandila has won the chairmanship and president of the Tonse Alliance. And what's your next move? Let me give you another call quickly. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm going.
Ishna Tivani Muletu Minagwi.
Mlanda na Teddy Nkunka, known as different MPs, the fearless politician in Central Province.
Teddy Mkwai from Kabwe. Please go ahead.
Yes, I think Mukandila, I'll tell you the facts without beating the bush and with due of respect. What I want to tell you, Namtuvika, Bamyunga, Azama PF supporters. That's the truth. You have been changing our convention, expelling people. Today I was reading what you have reduced our candidates. Bakambwiri, Navamakepi, Navakiven Luvinda. Those are the people who have convention. What about these others? Can you think that these people they can take you to court over 200,000? This fight will continue. To tell the truth, you are going nowhere, and this Malarenga Zambia, Ukuchura no sign those number of represented. Those structures, you don't live with them. You don't feed them. Anytime soon, all the structures will go, and you regret this. The truth of the matter, na February give us a leader. Even today, if it's possible, than what you are doing. We are tired of this. In conclusion, as you are leaving that radio station, go and sit down now, that people, they are crying, and we are going to cry to you. We are tired of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I want to take as many as possible because most of them are coming as comments. I would like to take as many as possible until probably we encounter a challenging question. Good morning.
Good morning, radio station.
Good morning. Thank you very much for calling us. Please share your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling you in Lusaka. This is Mr. Silwamba.
Mr. Silwamba, your line is bad, but please go ahead. We'll see how far we go with that line.
Okay, you can get me there?
Yeah, you keep breaking though.
Oh.
Yeah, the line is not very clear.
But I can get you.
Well, much better now. Thank you.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I want also to contribute to the program.
Please do.
Just like what the previous callers are demanding.
Right.
It's too much with infighting within PF. And this is giving advantage to the enemy that started fighting PF. We all know the number one enemy, who is not sleeping until he sees that PF is finished. But PF is not for an individual. PF is for majority Zambians. And it's paining everyone that is aligned with PF. Not PF members that have got cards, membership cards, but citizens. We are in pain for the fighting that is going on. Just yesterday, Mr. Mukandila was pronounced president. I'm on my knees pleading for Given Ruinda, for Wakambwili, for Mr. Kambwili, Mr. Given Ruinda, Mr. Mausampa. Please, we are on our knees. Can you go and engage Mr. Mukandila? Reconcile. Give us a president. Give us a president that everyone they are going to see and go with. We have no time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Maybe I can take a swing.
Yeah, let me just read one. David Simuyemba says, confusion can't make anyone win elections. I saw it in Matero constituency in 2021. Confusion in UPND was between Tom Chocolate and Xavier Ndaba. That's how the people for Xavier did not vote for Tom. That's how Sampa won in Matero. If he thinks he will win without his friends, mark my words, this HH will go through Mpaka 2031. Now, I can allow you to have your say.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much to the callers. And of course, I appreciate what the callers have indicated. And that is actually our greatest concern. Our greatest concern is that we must give the Zambian people a leadership as soon as yesterday. We are actually feeling your concern, and we are doing everything within our authority and within our power to ensure that we deliver that to the Zambian people. However, another caller indicated that what Mukandila did, what is that? Is what others failed to do. But you see, the realistic thing is what Mukandila did actually. Even Miles attempted to do it.
Yeah. Well, let me quickly take this one. Good morning.
Good morning, Razak. Mabuka shani.
Washibuka mayo, mashibuka shani.
Nashibuka sebuino. Kaka Mukandila. Good morning, my dear son.
Good morning, ma'am.
Nilemu mpitiwi kuno kuchongwe.
Mkwai.
Kaka Mukandila, and to all the peace-loving patriotic front members, let us all ignore what the Mukandila has done. Mukandila has done is not different from what Mao Sampa did and what Sharinga is doing. They are all one and the same. And if you look at how can you have people who are supporting you, have even gone against the church. I've seen a poster where Kampamba's put Brian Mukandila herself and the councillor. Umuntu wa voted Bill 7. Are they with the Zambian people? So your group like Copper Belt, from last night I was receiving Amakos Varera and that Niva Bill 7, group Bill 7. But to you, Mukandila, as the secretariat, please make sure we go and select a leader under whatever name. Ngamlefa mukaita ticharwe meeting, ngamlefa mukaita charity kapona meeting, meeting, it doesn't matter. Let's just leave out Patriotic Front, that we go and choose a leader who will start selling. And I'm sure our structures will support us because they know. Those who have been long in the party, they know the party constitution. Nangu abantu balefulwene nandatechi kanga waishire mairo etuishire what is required nicho kine kukumina ichishire waya ipunka na mchibumba. But batata ba mundubire, we wish him well because this is democratic right. As if that's not enough. Mukandila, are you aware that naba wisdom banda chifu banda atiyabwire batwala ku court over what he has done? That's on the ground. So let's wait and see. Alokupuminanga tampangire chintu chirepanga mano doesn't make sense.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let us not change the date. Let's do it in February and the date should be withheld. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Mumbi there. Let's see if we can take this one. Good morning.
Francis Mumbempika East Mwana Movies are calling you from Lusaka town. Good afternoon. Is it your morning?
Yes, it is morning. Francis, yes. Please quickly go ahead.
Thank you. Quickly. Well, according to my conspectus on today's issue, first and foremost, I want to say, you know what is happening within PF and so on. First and foremost, all the leaders, the top leadership within PF, blame yourselves for what is happening because there was too much inertia. When you had the chance to go to the convention, is it years ago when those monies were paid? People were drawing feet, this one goes in this direction, too much selfishness, from splendor, braggadocio, name it. People were just too selfish. You're not looking at the bigger picture of what was on the ground. Now, where we are right now, it's not the time now to start thinking, no, I hope this time around, when you're saying the convention was in February, it's not another, how many Februaries have we had or how many Decembers have we had from the time the PF lost power to say, we're going to choose a leader. This time be very serious, do what is supposed to be done because for President Hakainde Hichilema to succeed, he needs a very strong opposition, but as things are right now, he's laughing and enjoying what is happening simply because he knows at the end of the day, once you go into that issue, there's a divided people, it's going to bring a problem. Now, for me, it has shown how hypocritical and how power hungry the man is. But one of the most senior members, he was the cabinet minister, and the credentials that he has, is the one now who has gone against the other colleagues and is proudly parading himself now as the president of the alliance. But like what I'm has advised, let them stay with whatever. They should just stop using the name of PF and the name of President Lungu. And look at, I'm very disappointed with Magani Pule. Magani Pule was saying, no, we are going to go with the PF for ECM that will form the movement. But the other PF, it's because they were I want to say cadres and whatever. Now, somebody with 5 senses, honestly speaking, who was the leader of that PF? President Edgar Lungu, whose name they're using right now. And he's saying, no, the PF, cadres, they will remain with whatever us who are going with those. You can imagine how amateurish certain people, they've been in places for a long time, but they don't seem to know what they want. So for me, I want to say that lawlessness, anarchy, that is being breeded by the people in the alliance talk of now, I think at the end of the day, like what Mumpi's advice, form another, if it means creating another name, yes, that is going to stand in collaboration, whether with FCD, whatever, so be it. Then to the others, which are listening, even you in the faction, you go on your own, stop using the name of PF, stand it, give them the agenda that you have, what you are going to do when you become president. Under the same tone, so we're not even interested in tones right now, because of this behavior that you're all portraying like small children. Are you getting the point? So for me, in the conclusion, I feel this issue of the tones that has been spoiled from the time President Lungu died, 2 colors have come out. Other people wanted to pretend that they were so close to the president, that they want to be anointed and so on, but I'm going to hear that people are able to watch. Look at what happened in Chawama. The real PF, you follow the law. The real PF, the way it is, and the given the way they went there in Chawama and the like, that is where the people hold the secretary, and people should follow that procedure. But if others now want to just say, no, if we are going with the PF for the movement, like what I've done for the say, one-man party, he still continue to propagate something that is neither here nor there. So for me, as a patriotic front and the people of this country, I want to encourage them. We need a strong opposition to make sure that at the end of the day, a citizen should be able to make work can take this country to another level by doing the correct thing. Zambia should maintain the peace and tranquility that we've always enjoyed. And back to the don't say alliance and whatever. I think has already finished itself.
Thank you, Francis.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I think I have to say for today.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Mukandila, let me ask you a very critical question with regards. I mean, and I'm going to make this reference to the fact that you brought out, given Lubinda's wisdom in some of the decisions that he has made for the party. First of all, I do know and still know that in whatever it is that Mao Sampa did in 2023 is a big crime when it comes to the patriotic front and in terms of disciplinary standing as well. You will agree with me. How and the big question is, at what point did Mao Sampa face disciplinary action for what he did, for him to eventually become SG?
Well,
he is the least of the people with the betrayal that he has done to the party. He should be the least of people to hold such a position.
Let's be very realistic when you're looking at these things.
Right.
The moment Honorable Mao Sampa did whatever he did, he was expelled from the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, realistically. And then now, you see, the Bible has provided for the parable of the prodigal son. And in the Bible, the prodigal son went and enjoyed whatever it is that they enjoyed. And then they reached a point where they realized to say, I think I would rather be eating food in the piggery of my father's, in my father's house than outside. And the prodigal son decided to go back to the father's house. And the father was welcoming, forgave the son, and threw a very big party for the son. Now, these biblical stories can be likened to what is happening today.
Yeah, but you have a constitution.
Mao Sampa did what he did. Expelled, yes, he was expelled. But when he came back as a prodigal son, the father then, who was Edgar Lungu, received him. And there was a huge feast that was prepared for Mao Sampa. And he was even given privileges into the Central Committee. Now, you see, these are biblical principles. That is why I always indicate that life is spiritual.
Indeed, I agree with you.
Let's get to this. Let's get to this. You shall not, or anyone shall not, stop the president of the party today, who is Honorable Lubinda, from exercising his authority under Article 61J of the Constitution. We can't, unfortunately,
to bring back and readmit a member.
Unfortunately, this is the Constitution we have. It has given discretionary authority, unfettered authority to the president to do as he thinks, in his opinion, is in the best interest, development, and security of the party, when you read Article 61J of the Constitution. So the president has got a discretion. The same way that the same discretion was used by President Lungu to welcome or readmit Honorable Mao Sampa into the party. It's the same way President Lubinda used his authority under Article 61J of the PF Constitution to appoint Honorable Mao Sampa. But now, you see, like the story of the prodigal son, Honorable Mao Sampa decided, without being forced, to come back. In the Bible, did you ever hear that the prodigal son, the father to the prodigal son, went to the prodigal son to say, Mwana wandi, come back? No. The Bible is clear. The prodigal son is the one who came back to the father. And as it stands, in politics, you know, there are no permanent enemies. And that is how it is. The prodigal sons will always come back. And they'll always be welcomed with a big feast or a big party. Let's have that in mind, that life is spiritual, it remains biblical. And I'm glad that today, as we're talking, the callers that have called have actually indicated to say, PF, okay, tuaumfwa, but give us a leader. I hope your February will be a final shine. Do you know why they're saying that? It is because the Zambian people have highlighted to say the only legitimate PF is the one that has given a direction that we are going for a conference in February. and realize that the only legitimate leadership or opposition in Zambia is PF. But they will go out there and say opposition political parties are disorganized. But the only party that appears to be in disarray right now is PF. So in short, we've created a dualistic system of leadership in the country where it's only UPND and PF. You get
let me take some more.
So clearly, the callers have said, even Wamumbina Bena, very eloquent guy, he's even indicated to say, I hope February will be the final February.
Yeah.
Will give us a leader.
Let me take some more calls. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Banda.
Good morning. Thank you very much for calling. Please share your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, my name is Andrew. I'm calling from Africa. Good morning, SG.
Good morning,
Andrew.
Andrew.
All right, so yes, so as SG, to start with, I want you people to stand very firm. Let's not substitute this thing with shortcuts with treachery. SG, I'll tell you that a leader who prioritizes personal ambition over structure and collective responsibility cannot be excused by politics. Disorder is not his strategy. Treachery is not courage. What these colleagues are doing, it is a coup actually. It is very, I must say, I am very disappointed with Mundabele and some members of parliament who can show such levels of desperation. I never imagined in my life that we could have members of parliament come to the fire, Kamkiongo, and Brian Mundabele living in this way. I am very disappointed. But I'll tell you the one thing for sure is that PF is an institution, it is an organization anchored on discipline and order. Nothing can replace that thing. People can use shortcuts, well and good. We wish them well, they can go. Mukandila, if it means PF losing, we are better off losing with integrity than sitting embroidered in such a treachery. It is unacceptable. Chagwalungu, may he so rest in peace. He was very wise in his own way, though. He appointed acting president, Honorable Given as acting president, SG Nagachinda. He appointed them also as the acting Atose and SG Nagachinda, respectively. Unfortunately, these people want to use tricks, they want to use shortcuts, we can remind them. This institution called PF is bigger than any individual. This institution has survived all the attacks that have been coming in the last 5 years. So, when Mundabele have done, so Mundabele what does the Tonse constitution say? Mundabele stood on which party? And then when Mundabele is 200,000 kwacha. So how is it going to even have the guts to even when that meeting is called? Because definitely, SG, the convention won't happen in PF. We just need to have the way of selecting a leader. Find a way where you can call the central committee, where you can call the structures, and you pick a leader. How is when we are going to participate in that? Because what we expected was that Ben Mundabele would have been patient, would have waited for February. We elect legitimacy. Legitimacy is everything. Legitimacy is everything. But the other has got the president of Tonse. There's no legitimacy. You can claim, sometimes in politics people make noise. You can sponsor people on social media. You can sponsor these bloggers. You can sponsor some people to market and everything. But at the end of the day, the truth will always come out. I want to urge you, SG, and acting president, Honorable Given, please, you have got the mandate and the duty to protect the interest of the institution called PF. And no shortcuts, no intimidation to make you do things that are wrong because you want to please a certain set of people. If it means losing with integrity, let us lose this election with integrity. But I can tell you the Zambian people are behind you. PF is not dead. Jamaica can have the papers. You can control the structures and everything. Also enjoy with our temple and our I'm going to cause Mumumba on the other side. So,
Thank you.
SG,
Thank you.
SG, you have our support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banda.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that call. Let's take another one. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today? Please share your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Kefas.
Kefas.
Calling from English.
Kefas, we are grateful that you've called. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I must be very honest. I haven't followed the program very well.
Right.
But I wanted to make a comment. I know which you have touched this area.
Yes.
About the Brian Mungile being elected as Don'se Alliance by the faction Don'se Alliance group.
Right.
Yeah. Mr. Mukandila, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much. You see, one thing that I've seen in PF, some of us, we are people. I am not a PF member, but I'm a very loyal supporter of PF for many, many years. I've never been a member, but a supporter of PF. It is very clear in the hearts of many Zambians who love PF to the core that the PF leaders, you yourself, Mr. Mukandila, Gideon Lubinda, and many other PF leaders that are in that party, have let down the Zambian people. I want to bet with you. The move, despite being, you may call it indiscipline or treacherous and all that kind of stuff, what Brian Mundubile has done is going to go with the grassroots of the PF. That one I can assure you. You keep going into courts, Chavinga will never stop playing his shenanigans aided by the government. You keep saying we are going to go to the convention. That will never happen. I'm telling you, even in 2026 will come, you never go to the convention. You all believe that PF can do better and can survive, and it's the hope of Zambians. But what you've been doing, I'm telling you the truth. If you saw me face to face, I would tell you that you have made us so angry about you that even what Brian Mundubile has done, we feel it's a sigh of relief. Because on your side, you've just been saying something, nothing has happened. All this situation were caused by the same Mao Sampa who has been forgiven, returned back to the party. Yes, forgiveness must be there. But let's not forget, we are in this mess, or your party is in this mess. The party that we love so much is in this mess because of Mao Sampa. Had it not been Mao Sampa, you guys are so untruthful that each time you sit around yourself, someone is planning something outside what all of you are discussing. Mao Sampa looks now, he has come back, now is this and that, but Mao Sampa used to mock you. He has mocked even the supporters. Let Brian Mundubile go. We are going to follow him. We are telling you the truth. You can eat your given within the leadership. You keep talking about the injunction, the this and that. You get to 2026, you will never resolve this issue. The government, this UPND government will never leave you to run the PF. If you had realized that, you'll have sit down and begin to talk with this other faction, iron out together these little differences, chart the way forward together. You are all with FTD. Why can't you just remove your egos? Today, this one appointment, the other day, this appointment. You make us so hungry. I'm telling you the truth, and I feel so emotional about this. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much for that. And again, the question comes to speak to the fact that the Patriotic Front, like everyone else has said, the PF is no longer with Luwinda and everyone. The PF is with Chavinga. If the PF is with Chavinga on paper, it simply means that he too is with the Constitution. And the bigger question that is coming up here is, why don't you get out of the boat? Abandon it. Go. Because you are still a team and you can forge ahead. And they are saying, because you are taking long to do this, they are now looking at Mundubile to have done what everybody else should have done. Why are you so stuck onto the Constitution which you don't have?
we mustn't massage illegitimacy or illegality on the pretext of saying this is what ought to be done or whatever. No. The Zambian people will always stand in for the right thing to be done. Today, I will tell you that what may have transpired yesterday by Honorable Mundubit is not different from what transpired on the 15th with Bill 7. Not different at all. Illegitimacy is what we're looking at. Are the Zambian people happy with Bill 7? So if my colleague who just recently called is going to indicate that he's happy with Bill 7, so be it. But those are questions that Zambians should ask and answer. But of course, what is extremely important, not to even give relevance to irrelevant issues, especially that of this illegality. What is extremely important is that the Zambian people are eagerly waiting for us to go to the conference in February. And the Zambian people have given us an ultimatum that we must give them a leader by February.
Of which I
The
doubt
Zambian
if you are
people-
going to go with your constitution.
shall-
For example,
we
let me
shall-
ask you a question. If you are going to pick a special purpose vehicle today, you are not carrying your constitution with you into that purpose vehicle, no?
You see, we are not lawyers by mistake.
Yeah.
We are not lawyers by
How will that
mistake.
pan out?
We are not
Will
lawyers.
the PF constitution
We
be
are-
relevant?
We are not lawyers by mistake. We see it's an act of God. God placed us here for a reason.
Yeah.
Modalities have been put in place. I might not need to review how far we've gone with even, there's a grand plan. Remember we had mentioned there was plan B.
Yeah.
It is coming.
And the people are saying, no, you're looking forever. We can't wait.
What is, you see, even up to now, my brother, Comrade Banda,
Yeah.
you are actually saying Jesus is taking forever to come back. But we have got the conviction that he shall come back, isn't it, to save us. Let's be just a bit patient. It's just a bit, a date or a month has already been given, which is February. The only thing we're waiting for now is a date. Now, Comrade the Honorable Mumbipi is just from indicating to say, in fact, Secretariat should not even announce the definite date because these guys may do Mingalato. Maybe we might even have to follow her advice. But at least we know that it is February. So they can start getting busy from 1st of February to the 28th. Is it 28th or 29th of February? They can start getting busy, trying to follow us wherever we go. But we are having this, and we're giving the Zambian people a leadership. And the direction will be given.
I still need an answer. If you are going to pick a special
But
purpose vehicle,
you just heard what Honorable Mumbipiri indicated, that you don't even need to use PF as a name.
that's the thing.
We shall use whatever it is that we'll use. If we are going to want, we will say Zakaria Banda meeting. And that meeting shall be held, it shall select a leadership, and that leadership will be recommended to Central Committee, and Central Committee will recommend that name to a general conference, and everything else will be done. Central Committee will provide the leadership, and the Zambian people will be informed. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a slow-moving train. Which is moving, it shall not stop. Those that are deciding to hop out, but the aim of this train, the destination is 13th August 2026, and the destination is State House. This train is going into State House. Mark my words.
Your concluding remarks.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to encourage every person, every well-meaning Zambian, every law-abiding citizen, and every well-meaning member of the Patriotic Front, that the Patriotic Front remains united and we remain resolute to the fact that the party Central Committee has guided us. We are going to a general conference in February. And we have seen that it is patience, the patience you have exercised, which will not be taken for granted, is what we appreciate. And to encourage the membership is that now those that have decided to leave the party, I think now the marching orders are that they are no longer members of the party, and therefore you mustn't even entertain them. we are organizing the party in the manner that will help us to unseat Hakainde Hichilema, and that we shall do. Thank you very much.
Celestine Mukandila, Deputy Patriotic Front, Acting Patriotic Front Secretary General.